Hello everyone and welcome to the universe. Welcome to another twofer on the Season 5 My Hero Academia review. John Kearns, joined by some lovely people, Kayla and Bethany Nash, Tim Farley, and Brianna Farley. Tim, that was a delayed reaction. I tried to wait, but I couldn't. I got so excited to talk about these wonderful episodes of My Hero Academers.
Yes, the My Hero Academers has been on fire.
The latest episode of Deku.
The Academia of
Oh no, man!
Academia
It's starting.
My
Starting
Hero Macadamia Nut.
It's starting to be more than a Deku show and more like
Oh yeah,
try recent.
the Todorikis.
My Hero Macarena.
Keeping up with the Todorikis. That's what we're gonna call it from now on.
Definitely.
I love it.
At least this season.
Yeah.
So
I would much rather watch Keeping Up with the Todorikis than Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
You know, I've never
Yeah.
seen one episode of that show.
And I bless you.
Like,
Neither have I.
It's never even been on around me. Kayla looks sus. Kayla looks. Kayla's like, it's my favorite show. When I saw that, is that a chicken meme? I was like, that's me. No,
No, when she saw the baseball photograph.
What?
Baseball photo.
Yeah, the meme with them holding the baseballs. You brought it up to me like last week.
Oh,
I said I
yeah,
saw
the
it
one where it
before.
said it's the only time they've ever held white balls.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
No, actually, I was thinking of the part where they're taking Khloe Kardashian to jail and Kim taking selfies in the back seat, and Kris Jenner goes, "Kim, we're taking your sister to jail. This isn't the time to be taking selfies."
Fred Durst.
Just made you think of the
Oh,
time.
that's like what happened when you wrecked the car and Bethany took selfies in front of it.
Yes, exactly.
Fred Durst.
Has
Tim just goes, Fred Durst.
Fred Durst has
Well,
or
because
doesn't have
I'm
a
saying
wig?
when we
It's a
started
wig.
this
It is
video
really a wig. We
originally,
need to have a little
we
bit
were
of banter.
completely talking
Well,
about something else, and it had to do with Fred Durst's hair. And now we're talking about the
which
Kardashians.
may or may not be real. We don't know.
It's
We don't
fake.
know.
The Kardashians?
It's
I hope they're not real.
We don't know.
He looks like he's trying to relive the days when 303 was still a big hit.
Was still. Are you kidding me right now? Ugh. We gotta have a little bit of banter before the show really starts, you know.
Yeah, and he said his name first
Yeah.
this time. We have to give him a prize.
On the
Huh?
Face Jam podcast, they call it their Spittin' Silly segment, which is where what they do before they get into the bulk of the show. So, that's what we're doing. Spittin' Silly. So we're here to talk about episodes 105 and 106 of My Hero, of highly acclaimed, critically acclaimed anime series My Hero Academia. Episode 105 titled The Hellish Todoroki Family. Episode 106 titled The Unforgiven, which made me think of Metallica when I saw it. Exactly. So episode 105 starts. It takes place 1 week into the work study at Endeavor Agency with Deku, Bakugo, and Shoto, where they continue to try to catch villains before Endeavor, but every time Endeavor manages to beat them to the punch. He tells them to head back to the agency for the night, while he'll stay out a bit longer for patrol. Deku thinks back to his advice and how even though he's a long way away from reaching him, he's still working at it little by little. Back at the agency, Endeavor heads into his office for a break, where he looks at the Meta Liberation War book and thinks back to Hawks' warning. He then gets a call from Fuyumi, Shoto's sister, who had heard about Shoto and his friends interning with him, and since they'll be starting school back up soon, he should bring them all to dinner the following night. So what do you think of everything that happened before we get to the dinner segment?
I think
You can
that they moved through the work study really quick. And it's cool because at the end of the next episode, near the end of the next episode, you see what the three of them have been able to accomplish.
Right.
But pretty much, like up to this point, I'm thinking, oh shit, like if they go to dinner, Bakugo is gonna be weird.
Bakugo is always weird, dude. Like, of course it's gonna be weird.
I think that it showed like the growth that we've been seeing in Endeavor for him to like actually include Deku and Bakugo in going to see a family function, even though they already know like what the family dynamic already is. Just them being able to actually see it firsthand, I think it's total growth for Endeavor.
It also shows that like he's willing to put in an effort to actually let his family essentially be a family again. Like finally give them the one thing that like they've always wanted. And in the next episode we kind of get like a lot more when it comes to that aspect of it, that like it's slowly making me not like him less.
So yeah,
Like,
so the next episode really is going to be the bulk of this discussion because episode 106 was really heavy and had a lot of good stuff, a lot of great stuff. So I'm going to kind of zoom through what happens here because nothing really major happens in episode 105 until we get to the dinner.
well, 105 was kind of like a setup for 106.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All I want to know is why is Bakugo, or I want to make a statement that Bakugo's favorite meal, when they come up with that screen where they show random facts, it has to change to Sichuan Mapo tofu.
Yeah, dude, he was all about it. He was all
I was like,
You are ruining the taste of the Mapo tofu. All of this talk is ruining the taste of the Mapo tofu. Please give me the
recipe for the Szechuan Mapo tofu.
I was surprised when he said that.
Like, he's really like...
He doesn't say anything. He screams it.
Well, yeah.
But yeah. And in this episode, you also see some growth in,
what did you say, Ken?
you also see growth in Bakugo too, because like just in Bakugo's character all around, like you see him change and evolve every episode. Like the hot-headed kid that he was in the beginning of this season is not who he is now, and I think that's amazing character development because it's actually showing him like actually like you're friends with them, Bakugo, even though you don't want to be friends. Like you're gonna say you're not friends, you're friends with them.
Well, he definitely has the same energy, but he doesn't have the same aggression at all, and he's really mellowed out a lot.
Well, he's always going to keep that energy because that's how he was raised with his mom.
Yeah,
like he definitely takes
and like
his personality from his mother.
And turns out he's a Food Network nerd as well. So who knew? Let's see. Go ahead, Beth.
Okay, we also see the growth in Todoroki. Like, when it comes to the end of the dinner into, like, the next episode, that right there is such, like, an influential piece of, like, him fully, like, coming into himself and, like, his family and everything like that.
Right. Well, I am going to go through everything that happened at the dinner.
I am gonna say this. Natsuyo, is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah.
Like, we were making fun of it last week when we watched it together, that his shirt said front and back on it. But, like, then I started thinking, like, this dude's life is filled with trauma. Maybe, like, something in his brain, like, like malfunctions, and like he has to have his clothing say this is the front, this is the back, because why would you buy a shirt that says front and back on the front and back? Now I could understand if it was reversed?
You would buy the shirt that was front and back because the animators don't speak English. That's why you would buy it.
I've seen a lot of anime, dude, and that is never a thing.
That's never been a thing
They're
before.
probably going off like fashion trends that like never happened here, but might have happened like in Japan. So for all we know, there could be like 100 people.
There
that
could be
wear-
kids rocking the front
front
back
back.
shirt like no fucking tomorrow.
Yeah.
With some crazy looking, Nikes.
If a
Because
pop
you see those
Like,
like crazy Nikes, and you're like,
Stupid Americans
only a
don't have
Japanese
front back
kid
shirts.
could rock that. Like, Brianna, any thoughts on any of this?
yeah, I
Any,
said,
any thoughts on the front back shirt?
yeah. I said, maybe he thought it was funny, and then I also said, if a pop idol wore it or something, he might have bought it for that reason.
Because we definitely know
Maybe-
these pop
maybe-
idols literally wear anything.
Maybe there's a J-pop group called Front Back.
Oh, well, you don't have to be in a J-pop group to be an idol, man. Like,
I don't know how it
idols
works,
are like
man.
a huge thing.
Yeah,
That's where Stardom pulls a lot of their talent.
that's true. I mean, that isn't that what Maki Ito did?
Maki Ito, the two new Cosmic Angels, I believe, were idols.
Nice.
Mina is definitely one.
All right, we got. What do we got? Okay, here. The three of them, I guess that being Shoto, Deku, and Bakugo, spend the day patrolling the city and solving any cases they come across, with endeavors to accomplishing the tasks first at every moment, all the while continuing to give them advice on how to improve. As the sun sets, Endeavor thinks back on Fuyumi's words and brings them all back home with him to Katsuki's annoyance. Obviously. Fuyumi welcomes them all in with Deku nervously introducing himself and apologizing for hurting Shoto after she mentions watching their fight during the sports festival. Shoto mentions seeing Natsuo's shoes out front, with Fuyumi revealing she invited him over too. Oh, so they don't live together.
Mm-mm.
I did not notice that when I was watching this at all.
I think
I never.
they mentioned that like he was in college or something like that. So like, he might be like living on
Okay.
campus.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that at all. Good paying attention.
Also, it was cool that Todoroki like interrupted Deku's apology. It was like it was in the spirit of competition. No one cares.
Yeah,
Like it's fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've been hurt worse.
I also really love how before they even get in the house, Bakugo yells at Todoroki and saying, "Go in there and tell her we're not friends,
Not
right
friends."
now."
Go in there, tell her we're not friends. I can't wait till this episode gets fucking dubbed, dude. I can't wait.
I can't wait for all of them to be dubbed. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard for me to like pick out who's speaking. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it can be tricky. Especially
prefer-
when it's like showing the backs of their heads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like it's a big scene, and you're like, well, who was just talking? I don't know because y'all have like deep voice. I don't know.
Yeah,
anymore.
most things they would put like the character's name and then like a colon, but they don't do that.
They don't do that, and that's what I think. Like I'm like, why don't they list their name before they're speaking? Especially when there's two people talking. Like, I'm like,
I mean,
Well,
and-
it comes
and
down to knowing the characters. You know,
Yeah, like Bakugo is probably the easiest to pull out
yeah,
because anything that sounds aggressive is probably being said by Bakugo.
and Deku's the absolute opposite. And Shoto is
Yeah.
the more reserved,
Reserved, calm.
and what he says is just like a
Like he's very
Yeah, I-
literal.
boom.
He's very literal.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
no.
yeah. But
I can usually point out his voice, like Todoroki's voice, because it's the only one that like stays the exact same. It's very monotone,
He's monotone. Yeah, very monotone.
which like fits
Yeah.
his character very
I was
well.
trying to think of the word. Deku starts to overly praise and analyze the food, to Bakugo's irritation, leading Natsuo to mention how Fuyumi has been doing all the cooking since their caretaker retired. Fuyumi also brings up how Natsuo cooked some of the food to Shoto's surprise. as Natsuo responds that Endeavor probably didn't let him eat any of it, to the guest's awkward reaction. When Endeavor tries to say he didn't realize and wants to try some of his cooking, Natsuo gets up and leaves. After dinner, Deku and Bakugo help with the plates while Endeavor cleans. Deku asks if Bakugo knew about the family situation already, which he reveals he had overheard their conversation during the sports festival. So that actually coming back into the story this far ahead was something that I found pretty impressive. Like
Yes.
that little sort of, when it happens, nothing really happens, so you assume it's a throwaway moment. But
Yeah, in
no.
the moment, that's what
Yeah.
you think. But
Right.
that just goes to the story and
Storytelling,
character
man.
development of the show.
Yeah.
Two things. I think, first off, I really think it was funny how his sister's talking about how she wishes that Deku and Bakugo didn't help clean up,
Yeah.
and then Shoto was just like, "No,
It'd be
if you
worse if
didn't,
they
it would have
didn't,
been
yeah.
more of a mess."
Mhm.
But then, with the whole Bakugo overhearing, it shows that he actually is becoming a friend. Because, first off, he knows about Deku and All Might, and he doesn't tell a living soul. And he knew about that in the first season, but it wasn't fully confirmed until
he had
later
the
on.
idea.
But with Shoto, that's something that definitely happened in the first season that he got the details of and hasn't told anyone, hasn't used it against him or anything like that. So with
Yeah.
that alone shows
That's
the amount
true.
of growth that he has.
And he totally could have whenever they were in classes together, just the two of them when they didn't get the provisional licenses.
Yeah, when they had to do the remedial courses.
Even when he was taken by the League of Villains, if he would have just been like, "Hey, I'll tell you some stuff about anybody if you let me go."
That's
Like,
true.
a
He
bargaining
totally
chip.
could have spilled the beans on Endeavor.
Exactly.
So Deku and Bakugo then overhear Shoto and Fuyumi talking about everything else, where Shoto says how he can't forgive him so easily for what he did to their mother. However, he knows all that she is doing to overcome it all. Thinking back to a letter he got recently where she tells him she'll be discharged soon, and she hopes she hopes to once again live with him, Fuyumi and Natsuo, unsure of how he wants to feel. Bakugo barges his way in, yelling at them not to talk about sensitive subjects in front of guests, leading Deku to apologize and tell her they knew about everything already. Picking up the remaining plates, Deku says to Shoto he believes he's getting ready to forgive him. He tells him that it is fine to not be able to forgive him if he wants, but since he knows Shoto is a kind person, and that comes into play a lot in episode 106, he's waiting for the right moment. Natsuo and Endeavor overhear this discussion. Endeavor thinks about what he can do for his family after all this time, lighting up the Batsudan and praying at the altar, thinking about his dream again and wishing that Toya could have been with them too. A few days ago, a hooded man is released from prison and walks around a Christmas-decorated bazaar when he comes across a television playing Endeavor's battle against the high-end Nomu, causing him to gleefully smile. That is how episode 105 ends. So,
Brianna,
yeah.
what do you think about all that?
I don't. I think that it was interesting that Bakugo even went to the dinner. I think it's nice that Endeavor let them come over to his house. I was really surprised with that, you know. And I was also surprised that they started talking about something so personal while Midoriya and Bakugo were over there.
Yeah, I mentioned to Kayla and Beth when we were watching, I was like, did they just forget that all the walls in Japan are made of paper?
So, but And with Bakugo, like, knowing those things, that and they showed the clip of him standing, it, like, listening, like, I was like, man, that was so, like, creepy, and, like, what? You know? But, I mean,
that's
yeah.
back when he had it out for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But still creepy.
Shady.
And, I don't know, I think,
Kitty.
yeah, it's a good episode to show everyone's growth. And once again, Midoriya is like the catalyst for growth
Yeah, definitely.
in friends' lives.
So, I mean, anybody that watches this, that watches other animes, they all know, we all know, what happened to Toya.
Mm.
I mean, it's obvious what happened to Toya. He ran off.
I think
he ran off to Whale Island to take the hunter exam.
Really,
Exactly.
I can't believe how much that little picture of Toya looks like Hilua. I can't.
Is this a multiverse situation? Like
literally.
You're right, honestly.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Who? Like, with the white hair. Now, do you guys remember in the clip where they're playing and they're little and it's always like, oh, Shoto can't go play with them?
Yeah.
Kid with red hair. There's Fuyumi and Natsuo and a kid with red hair. And I thought the whole time, I thought that's
So
Toya.
that would be Toya. Yeah.
Then they show a picture of Toya and he has white hair. And I'm like, now I'm really confused.
I always felt like
Yeah.
I always thought that they were like neighborhood kids, like friends that they brought home from school. Because I want to say there was another kid with them.
Well, when we were watching it down with John, I was like, wait, pause it and rewind. I was like, okay, there's 3 kids playing there, so that means obviously one of them's Toya.
Yeah.
No.
And
also
one of them would be.
But it's also possible that maybe he did have red hair because, like, Endeavor, but, like, as he got older, it became white.
No, because Toya's the oldest.
Or it's also possible that knowing who Toya becomes, when, like, if there were situations that happened similar to what happened to Todoroki's mother with Toya, it's totally possible that something could have happened to make his hair
to
different.
make his hair change. And we've seen things like that in anime before. Like in
like white hair. People get white hair due to stress and stuff like that. So
like in Demon Slayer, Zenitsu's hair changes when he gets struck by lightning. It changes from black to yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe your white hair gets changed when he gets struck by fire.
Yeah, and like Kirishima had that whole makeover that he did, that he pulled off earlier.
He dyed his hair. He got some manic and went home and dyed it.
But okay,
he had an
with the whole 3 kids, it could be possible that Toya just wasn't outside at the moment, because we find out in episode 106
it is gone by then.
I don't think he was fully gone, because they looked like they were still young children, but we know that Natsu and Toya were really close, and Natsu even said, Toya told me what you did. So it could be that he had just finished training with Endeavor and was resting inside, because we have seen like firsthand how hard they were, because we have seen what he did to Todoroki.
Yeah, it's also possible that he was already out of the house, because we know how much older that he is.
I get the feeling that of the 3 kids that we know, Fuyumi's the eldest, Natsu's in the middle, and Shoto's youngest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because Fuyumi seems like she's already done with school and everything and is just living at home.
Yeah. She is a teacher.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she is. That's right. I forgot about that.
I don't know. To me, Toya is still very much a mystery, because, like, he says, Natsu says, Toya told me what you did. I'm like, what exactly is he talking about? What did he do? Because I thought that he stopped training with Toya for a different reason first before Toya left or whatever went down. Like, and he chose Shoto. Like, he, like, was working with Toya, and there was something about Toya that wasn't working. And then when Shoto got older, he was like, no, Shoto's the one that I need to focus on. He has both powers. And, you know, maybe his personality was, or he was maybe more amiable. Like he felt like he could mold him more. Toya maybe. A little
yeah, I think it was because Shoto has both powers. Because when we're finding out, like, the origin of, like, Endeavor and his wife, I can never remember her name.
Ray.
But
Ray, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay. So when we're learning about, like, Endeavor and Ray, the sole purpose they married was so they could have kids that had both powers.
Yeah.
So my thinking is it Fuyami? Am I saying that right? Fuyumi?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think
And
Fuyumi probably does too, because she has the red specks in her hair.
Specks in her hair, yeah.
I'm not entirely sure, like, if they have, like, full quirks. Or, like, if they have quirks at all.
Yeah.
Because, like, I know they came from two parents that had quirks, but it could be that they just didn't.
Yeah, we've
like,
never seen anything about either of them having quirks, even.
Yeah.
But we know for a fact that Toya did and Shoto does.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's switched.
When I first found out about, like, the Todoroki family, I was, like, disgusted with Endeavor.
Yeah, but, like, the whole Todoroki family dynamic.
Like, bitter to have kids that would, like, have both powers, and he just kept going until he got the right one. I was like, oh, this guy's gross.
Alright, so we're going to get into episode 106. I'm actually going to throw it over to Kayla, who's going to do the summary for episode 106.
Okay, so this episode title was called The Unforgiven. So in this episode, it starts back with a flashback to 7 years ago where Endeavor captured a villain named Takami, and he sent him into custody. He angrily wonders out loud if he thought about how All Might capturing him faster, before warning them about the criminal. As he is approached by the media as a person known as Ending, also witnesses Endeavor and becomes immediately entranced by his... I can't read. Ferocity. 7 years prior, he is captured by Endeavor alive, annoyed at having missed his chance and having being released from custody. Discovering the location of the Todoroki abode, intent on making Endeavor finally end things, he jacks himself up with Trigger following Natsuto, who had just left the house. Natsu, I mispronounced it. So, thoughts on the flashback?
I really like this. I really love him. And it's not in, like, a weird way. Like, I really like it because, like, only very often do you see a villain that's obsessed with a hero.
Yeah, while
to the extent that he is.
You're gonna think of the one that I brought up while we were on our little break there.
Joker?
Yeah.
That would be, like, a perfect example. It's exactly like the Joker and Batman.
Exact analogy that I thought of when we were talking about it.
Mm-hmm. But, like, you can definitely tell with the way that, like, he was talking about Endeavor. Like, this man will do any means necessary to end things, whatever that might be.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody got something?
I just thought it was like a crazy thought. It's like he just wanted to choose how he would die.
Yeah.
But, like, why so soon? Like, how old are you, guy? Like, why do you want to die so bad?
Well, the comparisons with the Joker are there kind of. This is separate because Joker and Batman. Joker wants to exist as long as Batman exists. He doesn't want to die by Batman's hand. He wants to torture Batman for the rest of his life. He does have love for Batman.
Yeah.
But this is like a crazy stalker of a hero that like takes it way farther. Like people who stalk celebrities and stuff like that, and like it happened to like Lady Gaga's dogs and stuff recently.
Yeah.
And people like try to buy things like strands of hair or vials of blood and shit like that. But like this is like
used clothing is big on like eBay and shit. Like bizarre.
But this is a little bit different from the Joker and Batman. But like, yeah, it was really interesting. Also, that whole thing about like he said something about how a person chooses how they die, and I was like, that's not always true, man.
Yeah.
Like, like there's smokers who have outlived people who got lung cancer out of nowhere. There's I was like, I don't agree with you, but then again, you're insane. So
yeah, he's kind of
not. You don't have all your marbles.
He's not well. We'll say that.
I'm not crazy. I'm just a little unwell. I know right now you can't tell.
We can tell.
If you're gonna think of me.
Oh, whatever, serial killer girl.
Ooh, okay. Not me.
Yo,
No.
John,
So
you
in the
remember
next
whenever
scene-
he was in Always Sunny, though? The singer of Matchbox 20, Rob Thomas? It was Rob Thomas and Sinbad, man. Whenever Dennis went crazy. Yeah.
Went.
Anyway.
Okay. So in the next scene, we see Deku and Bakugo are sitting in the room with Todoroki and Fumi, who explain about their brother Toya. Fumi talks about how close Natsu and Tomi were, and how he died soon after their mother was hospitalized, worsening her conditioning even more to the point that Shoto couldn't even see her. However, even with Shoto and Rei starting to reconnect, Natsu still can't get over his hostility towards their father, blaming him for Toya's death. She apologizes for bringing it up as Endeavor arrives to bring them back to school. Deku thanks Fumi for the meal. Bakugo asks her to send him the tofu recipe, and Endeavor thanks her for setting it up. She takes Deku's hand and thanks him for being Shoto's friend. Meanwhile, Natsu calls up his girlfriend, apologizing for bailing on their plans and setting up something for the following day, when he is suddenly attacked by white lines.
Okay. Starting off, I don't think it was his girlfriend. There's nothing anyone can do that will convince me that Natsu doesn't know Dabi is Toya.
Oh.
There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing.
Oh. I like that idea.
Why do they all think he died? Like, I'm confused.
I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna explain coming up soon because I mean the preview.
I like that theory a fucking lot.
Thank you.
What was your theory? I'm sorry.
That
Natsu knows that Dabi is Toya.
Yeah.
But it could be like the reason why he has all of the scars the way he does. Like we could be getting a backstory on that. What?
Why?
No, but Dabi does. We know it's been confirmed that Toya is Dabi.
Yeah.
And Dabi has all of these scars, but we don't really know how he got them. So I'm guessing how he got them is why everyone thinks that he's dead.
Yeah.
Why did they say it was his girlfriend? Nowhere did it say that, right?
That's what I was thinking. Like nowhere, they never mentioned of a girlfriend anywhere.
That never happened in the show. That never happened in the show.
What?
I just figured he was calling
someone up. Wait.
Oh, it was just his friend.
Yeah.
But this says it was his girlfriend.
In the wiki, it says girlfriend, but they never said that.
Yeah, and they also said that other person was Shigaraki, and then we were like, no, and then...
But then you found out that it was, and whatever. Anyway, Deku has it bad for Todoroki's sister.
Yep.
That's what I've been trying to get to this whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uraka has competition.
Yeah.
And she took his hand, and he was like, oh.
Take his hand.
But if it came down to it, I'm pretty sure he'd still pick Raka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know if Yumi keeps showing up or they keep going to Todoroki's house, man.
You don't think Mr. Notebook wants an opportunity to have the #1 hero be his father-in-law?
Right?
I think he likes Ochaka. But I think, an older woman touched his hand lovingly. I mean, he freaks out whenever Ochaka called him on the phone. He's like, oh my God, she's whispering in my ear. He's like a
That's
little
why
in that
when I was explaining it, I went, what?
Predatory.
Romance finest.
I don't think she's into him at all. So
That's not necessary.
that's not necessary. It's my opinion.
No, I mean, like, she doesn't have to. It can be unrequited love. Like, him liking her.
I don't know, man. She was real.
Well, that's because she couldn't be like that with Bakugo. If Bakugo had a normal personality,
Yeah.
she would have done the same.
Yeah.
But Midoriya is obviously the one, like Brianna talked about the growth. He was there to say those things to Todoroki, and she was standing right there. So, like, she could tell from all the interactions that Midoriya, I'm really happy that you are his friend. The other one, whatever, but you were special.
Yeah. It was cute.
I liked it a lot. All right, keep going, okay.
It was a good scene. So, on the road, Endeavor tells them alongside weekends that they will be working at least 2 days during the school week. Deku thinks about how they'll have to prepare for finals, asking Shoto to help him in English. I thought that was funny that they have to learn English, but it's like we have to learn a foreign language, they have to learn a foreign language. I thought that was funny.
The only one they know for is Spanish and French.
Well, Katsuki's in
and also, like, they're heroes, so it makes even more sense because we saw All Might go to America, and all of his moves are based on American
US
places.
cities. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw a little bit in the 1A and 1B fights where the pony girl, when she's really flustered, she speaks English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember when we did that episode, John, and you were like, I wonder if in the dubbed version she starts speaking Japanese.
Right.
Yeah.
But she didn't. But it was funny.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Big
fan of Endeavor's driver.
Oh my God.
We're getting there. We're getting there. So
I guess becoming the #1 hero changes a man. And then he said something weird like Zoids or Zonkers.
I'm getting there.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Well, I don't know what the article has.
Getting there, yeah.
So Deku asks him to help in English while Bakugo is yelling at how small the car is. Untumura Camarada fires back in response, surprised at Endeavor taking this kid along for the ride. Just then, the car is attacked by white lines, controlled by Ending. As everyone noticed, Natsu, covered up, swinging in the air. As the car crashes, Endeavor blasts out of it and confronts the villain. Ending asking if he remembers him, which he does, causing him to gleefully react. Ending continues that he's always respected Endeavor for having things he would never have, and then he desires for Endeavor to kill him. He knows that heroes aren't supposed to kill at all. However, he points out that Endeavor killed the Nomu and then considers him to be the same as it. So should just burn him with ease. Katsuki, Shoto, and Izuku bust their way out of the car as Untumuro sends out their hero equipment, which Deku throws to his classmates. Ending sends his white lines to distract the three, but they are easily able to deal with them. Thanks to thinking about Endeavor's lessons, irritated by their appearance, Ending starts to back away, leading Endeavor to try to give chase. However, seeing Natsu Natsu's scared face causes him to step back and hesitate, unsure of what to do. I think that part was important because that showed Endeavor as a parent. Like, in that situation, do you help your kid and end up actually being worse, or do you not help your kid and it still end up being worse? Like, that him stopping was probably my favorite part of the episode.
Wasn't there a scene where he said, if you were to save me, I don't know if it would be because you're the number one hero, or you actually care for me as a father?
Yeah.
I believe that was said, like, something like that was said in one of the episodes.
Yes.
Okay.
This whole thing is one of my favorite action scenes in the show so far.
I was going to say, John, when they decided to bust out of the car,
and with the gear flying out, I was like,
well, before that, even before that happened, when they decided to bust out, like, I marked out for like the first time in a while on this show because the animation and just that scene, I was just like, damn, like, yeah, dude,
and
like they are right on this shit, and this is where you're going to get ahead of Endeavor. This is it.
Yeah.
This is the last chance, bro.
And with them coming out of the car and the gear flying out of the car, it was like, it's one of the first things that's made me feel like I'm watching an old school superhero thing.
Yeah, and we, the driver said, "You're forgetting something," and hit the button, and then that, like, I was like, "Yo, this is like Batmobile shit."
Yeah,
right. It was really cool.
Real quick though, I thought it was really funny because Bakugo stuck his head out of the window of the car when the white strips started like flinging at them, and the driver said something along the lines of, "Yo, aggressive brat, get your head back in the window,"
and he did. I couldn't believe that he did.
I know.
I was like, okay.
It was funny.
I'm like, okay, Bakugo, turning a little soft there. It's fine, buddy.
And Midoriya took all the suitcases and threw them at everybody. Like, I'm like,
that was such a cool scene.
Midoriya, in this scene, Midoriya was on his Tenya Ida shit.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
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 So, they run...
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Bree.
I was going to say, I don't know if we got to this part yet. Like, after they saved them.
No.
We're getting there. We're close.
Getting into that.
It says, the entries run ahead of him, with Shoto storing up his power, ready to attack Ending. In response, he uses his white lines to pick up the nearby cars with people inside, throwing them into the air, while simultaneously putting Natsu in front of a moving train. Katsuki uses his power to blast fast enough to grab and save Natsu, while Deku jumps in the air and concentrating. Successfully unleashes Black Whip to grab all the cars.
I freaked out.
I'm gonna pause there real quick.
I freaked out.
Fuck, yes, me too.
When that happened, I was like, holy shit. I was like, what?
He's
like,
got
that is what Endeavor...
control.
Yes, like, Bakugo had control. Deku had control. Shoto had control. Like, just that little bit of time.
Fully using both sides simultaneously.
At the same time!
They did what they were supposed to do, and we didn't have to sit through 30 episodes of training.
Yes.
This shit they did it perfectly.
They all had, like, the things that Endeavor taught them, like, going through their heads. So, like, you got the idea.
Things at once, and then
Yeah. And that goes to prove, like, even in, like, the real world, like, if you put your mind to it and just focus on, like, what you can control in that moment, it will get better. You will get stronger. You will get faster.
And it plays into, this scene perfectly plays into what we and every My Hero Academia fan has been saying this whole time about how much better of a teacher Endeavor is. But for the sheer fact that All Might never had to.
Speaking of,
Endeavor's been behind All Might his whole goddamn life, so he knows what to do.
The ending of the opening theme, where it's All Might standing there with his back to you, and then it goes into Endeavor. I was
my favorite part.
Oh shit!
That's my favorite part of the intro. But I think it's really cool. Growing on like him being like the better teacher, we also know that like 2 of the kids that he has, like one's his own kid, and the other one is Bakugo, whose power is explosions. So like he off the bat, we knew that they were going to be like pushed ahead so much further. The only one that was kind of a question was Deku, but we've discussed it before. Endeavor knows how to teach someone with more than one quirk.
I really hope that we get flashbacks or like highlights of what Kirishima and Tetsu have been doing this whole time.
I know, because they were
Well, in the preview, it looks like a lot of them are discussing what they've done and everything.
Oh, cool. See, I didn't get to see the preview.
What I want to see is now you control Black Whip. Are those vestiges coming?
I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see what the next power is.
What's the third one?
The next power
Let's
is.
go. I'm so ready.
Let me interact with this.
What's that?
I'm a Jiki.
I'm a Jiki.
I'm a Jiki keychain, and it
Love
makes
that.
me so happy.
Keychain.
I love it. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh my god. And I show everyone, even people who don't know who that is. I'm like, look at how cute. Anyway.
Okay, so
This is my favorite part. They have self-esteem issues.
It's my favorite toy.
Just like
So Shoto attacks ending with a fiery punch, trapping him in ice while Deku lets the cards down safely, as the civilians thank him for saving him. All while Endeavor looks on amazed at how fast the students have grown in just 1 week.
Yeah.
Endeavor runs up to Katsuki and Natsu, hugging them both before Katsuki breaks free. After confirming ending is secured, and the civilians are
smell.
I love that.
Old man smell.
Really,
I forgot about that till you just said
that,
it.
like hugging all the parents, because the way his mom is, and his dad's like very timid, so he's probably not used to like that embrace of a parent.
The second that hug happened, I started crying.
I was like, oh, Belly told me if I cried as a little bitch.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
She did.
Yeah, well, you're both kind of like masochistic, so whatever.
A little bit.
So, Katsuki glows to Endeavor that they managed to beat a villain faster than him, which he thanks them for covering for his mistake.
So fucking
Disappointing Katsuki, he wasn't angrier. I thought that was that showed growth, because like old Bakugo would have flipped out, being like, "Oh, you're not going to give us our praise? Like, what do you mean? Like, we did it? Like, what?
But he
what
was
do you like?
Oh, now he's so gracious."
Right?
A rare time screaming.
Yes.
Well, he was checking on everybody. He was like, "Hey, did you do this? Did you do that? Okay." I was like, "Wow, why
is the mob okay?" If
like,
you mean the people driving
because Brianna, that class 1B fight, man,
dude,
he had it so he knew what they were doing. He was concerned if they did their job. So now he's applying that to real life.
Was it Todoroki though? Was it Shoto that like he bust out the door and he said, "Let's go"? Was it him. So he
I think it was.
And then they all ended up just knowing what to go after. Like they didn't plan it. You go after the people. You do that. They just ended up doing it
because they're the top dogs.
It shows.
They're on a wavelength.
It shows that they've been together so long that they know what the strengths of each person is, so they don't need to communicate.
Yeah, Midoriya knows right away that
Midoriya's rescue.
That Bakugo's gonna go head first into combat, so I shouldn't have to worry about that. So Todoroki is gonna go. Yeah,
they're both on rescue. Yeah.
Yeah, and Deku has said this whole time he wants to be a hero that saves people.
Mm-hmm. So Bakugo was asking everybody, and then he's mad that Endeavor isn't
mad. Yeah,
that they beat him, but at the same time, they didn't really beat him.
But also I think it's a good thing because it's also a lesson that Bakugo needed to learn from Endeavor in not responding in frustration. And
Yeah,
that's what we talked about whenever they first
Grace
were
under
announced to
pressure,
go.
or whatever you would call it.
You know,
Yeah.
as we talked about how Endeavor changed and how Bakugo can look at that and incorporate that into himself. And I felt that specific scene.
It's exactly what had to happen.
Yeah.
This scene right here, like with all three of them, it made me so much more excited for the movie to come out. Like, I'm so excited for it because, like, this right here set the groundwork for it. We all know, like, what
right here, dog? This shit right here?
So good.
It's bussin'.
Bus!
But like, I want to say something. I know it's a little bit ahead, but I'm gonna ask you guys. We all know who Bakugo wants to tell his hero name to,
Genist! Genist!
Bestinus.
100%.
100%. Like, there's not a doubt in my mind. It's Bestinus.
I didn't know. I was literally gonna ask that, but I was gonna wait until Kayla got there. So, you know.
So
and-
Bakugo-
Well, I didn't want to wait because whenever she stops talking, everybody wants to go first. So I was just like, "Fuck it, I'm getting it out of the way now."
So what happened between Hawks and Best Genist?
Let's
Because
wait.
whatever happened, Bakugo's gonna see it.
You're right. Let's put a pause on that little.
Yeah.
Let's put a pin in it, and then I will pull the pin out in a minute. So, after Natsu breaks free as well, Endeavor apologizes to him, believing if he rescued him, he wouldn't speak to him ever again. He continues that he never intended on shunning them, but ran away from the responsibility, admitting he might as well have killed Toya. Natsu fires back that he has no intention of ever forgiving him since he's not kind like Shoto, while Endeavor points out that he still continues to show up for Yumi and Rei's sake and making an effort to help Fumi bring back the sense of family. He tells them that he is kind and that it's okay if he doesn't forgive him, since he just wants to atone. Natsu starts to tear up, still thinking about all that's happened, wondering why he has to change and what his father could do to atone, which Endeavor already has an idea. At the same time, Ending breaks down in tears over seeing Endeavor in his current state, and that the dazzling light he believed in has given out. The police arrive, taking Ending away, noting that his quirk was boosted by the drug. The driver warns Endeavor to be careful since it's the second time that he's been targeted this week, noting how darkness never seems to go away, while Endeavor looks towards his intern, saying how the light won't go away either. To the side, Natsu thanks the three for saving him, asking about Koski's hero name.
Yeah,
Deku believes it's just Bakugo, but when he points out that he's wrong, he excitedly asks him to tell him his hero name, which he angrily refuses too, towards he or Shoto, waiting to tell someone else first. Endeavor thinks about how Hawks really does have a good eye, while elsewhere he wonders if Endeavor is talking about him.
Now, there was a part there that they didn't mention.
Yeah.
And whenever they're talking about the darkness, and he thinks he thinks to that the wizard type dude,
the servant of the stars.
Yeah, and how he said this man's light brings the darkness and demise, and
it happened.
And then after he thought that, he said, that's when he said, "But light will always be here." So like he had a moment of like, man, am I like the cause of this? And then he was like, no, fuck that noise. Positivity all around.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that alone has a bigger meaning than just like him as a person. Because personally, I think the darkness the darkness hasn't come yet. I feel like the darkness is going to be the actual rebellion of the liberation when everyone rises.
And the person who will be at the forefront
and
going after Endeavor is going
kind of
to be
alludes to it because he's talking.
That's like foreshadowing.
Who is the cloud? We know who the cloud is.
The cloud.
Exactly.
The
So-
cloud is Dobby. The
Oh.
cloud is Dobby. And that's
But, like-
why his light is going to bring the dark cloud.
But like even he says like in this episode he says the lightness will never go away. Oh, and he's looking at Shoto, Deku, and Bakugo,
Right.
seeing as these new heroes that are so full of hope and that are capable of so much because of how much these specific three learned in just a week. And he knows that the other kids in their class are going to be doing the exact same thing. But like they're the ones that are gonna be the lightness. Not so much like the heroes, not so much him. It's the new class
Mhm.
of heroes.
And I think a lot, like them catching on so quickly has a lot to do with they're in their third year and they've already had hand-to-hand combat all around. They don't have time to sit third term. They don't have time to sit there and actually think about, oh well, I'm gonna overthink this. Like Endeavor told them what to do and they just took it and applied it because they know what it's like to be in that actual like life or death moment.
It also has to
It
do
happened
with,
to them in their first.
It also has to
thing.
do with the characters. Number
Mhm.
one, Deku works harder, twice as hard, 3 times as hard as anybody because he's been obsessed with being a hero and he came in late in the game. Bakugo, since he had got his quirk, he has had a singular vision of being number one. And Todoroki was groomed to become number one. So
Yeah.
I personally don't think Todoroki wants number one position though.
No,
Like,
I don't think he's concerned with that.
I
I
could
think
see,
he's concerned with being a hero.
I
Yeah.
could see
Yeah.
Todoroki being an Aizawa type.
Yeah. But so at the end of this episode, we got a post-credit scene, and
yeah,
in
I
that
didn't
scene,
get to see this. I want to know
Oh!
about it.
Oh wait,
in that
wait.
scene,
Sorry, before you do the post-credit scene, there was one thing that ended the episode. When Endeavor's talking about Hawks, my boo, turns around and goes, "Is someone talking to me?"
Yeah, he like
I
sneezes.
might have been
and-
Endeavor.
Talking about
Yeah.
me, yeah.
Jesus, he's like, someone must be talking about me.
I wonder if it's
And he
Endeavor.
said- Maybe it's Endeavor. Like
I wonder
like
if
I
it's
feel
Endeavor.
like he
I wonder
knew.
if it's Endeavor.
I don't have any other friends. It has to be Endeavor. Like,
No,
Fucking literally though.
when they found him, he was holding that doll. It
Mhm.
makes
Yeah.
total sense because he's like the opposite version of Ending. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, and
he's
you
an
get
Endeavor
that-
fanboy.
The first time that him and Endeavor meet, you get the sense that his whole thing is he wants Endeavor to be the person that Endeavor thinks he is.
yeah,
Yeah.
He
You
thinks
know what I
Endeavor
mean?
is.
Like when the first time they meet, they have that sit down dinner where Hawks is like, "Look, man, here's what you need to do. You need to go in there, tell them there's nothing to worry about, blah 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 blah, and you're over here all pissed off for what? Like you need to tell them that there's nothing to worry about." And he's
Yeah.
like, and then they get attacked, and that goes haywire. But you know,
Mhm.
but
I also think it's important to note what Endeavor says before it switches to Hawks. Because I can't remember the exact thing he said, but it was essentially like he was right about these kids.
yeah, he said Hawks has a
He
good
said he had
eye.
a good eye.
Yeah.
So in the post-credit scene, you see Endeavor go back to Natsu, returning them home with where Furuya is exasperated to learn that he was captured by a villain and rescued by Shoto and his friends. Endeavor then tells him that he knows she's been doing all of the work making a home that they can bring their mom into, and that they plan to build a new home for the two of them to move into that will welcome Rei into as well. When Fuma asks about Endeavor, he thinks about his dream where his family is enjoying themselves without him and wondering what he can do for them. Besides, the best thing to do is to stay at the home by himself. I think that is foreshadowing that Endeavor is going to die.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I would, because if you think about it, like, his family is together, his family is laughing and smiling and happy without him. Where is he? He is trying
Not
to
just
build.
that.
he's trying to build all of these and fix all of these relationships, and the biggest one would be to be there when everybody else is there. But I feel like it's setting up for Endeavor dying.
There's also,
But when?
back to what I was saying about the black cloud and the darkness being Dobby and Endeavor being that light. They're going to collide, right? And he says, but the light will still exist. And he looks at his other son and his two friends.
Mm-hmm.
That's another, you can put that into another layer of foreshadowing of Endeavor's death.
And like the fact that, like, when people most things, like whenever their apprentice is ready, they die. Like, and so that could be real. That could be a thing.
Or it could just, it could just mean that the whole atonement thing. That's how he feels he has to atone.
That is,
and I also think it's a great whether it's about atonement or anything. It's a great idea to build a new home for her, because you don't want those memories triggering her or anything like that.
Yeah.
It really bugged me because at the end of it, Endeavor's like in the middle of like a sentence and it cuts him off. And then it goes into the preview. So I don't know what he was saying, but I want to know what he was saying.
Oh yeah, I rewound it because I was like, wait, did I miss something? And it just like...
It cut off on purpose.
They fucking sopranoed him?
And they cut him off on purpose.
Yeah. Like, he was talking about how he was going to make another house for them and everything like that. And he was talking about what he was going to do to atone. Like, he was going to...
And they cut off.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like, trailing... Like, I don't know. Like, they did that before because they said, that, oh, I have an idea. And then the idea was for have them all live together in a new home and him live by himself.
Yeah.
But that's like, he was kind of repeating that, like he said, like, if I really want to atone, if I really want to take care of them, and that's what, and then you didn't hear the next part. Maybe he didn't say the next part. It was his thought. Like, he was and like, does it just mean like he feels he needs to do this, or is there something else that he was going to say? Like, I don't know.
I really think Fiyumi wants like Endeavor to be there with Ray. I think she wants Endeavor to fix the relationship that they have so they can be like a whole family.
Yeah,
and it's like when she's out of the hospital and everything like that, once she's like living on her own, it might be a little bit easier to like reintroduce the two rather than trying to do it while she's in the hospital.
Yeah.
Well, and even though
they won't even let him in.
Yeah,
they won't let him in. But like, even if he builds this new house and they all live there, maybe it's a good idea, and he lives on his own while atoning, and and then he works on the relationship, like, but on her terms.
Yeah.
Like, you can come over and have dinner with us tonight, okay, but not like, you're all gonna live together now. And
it's like a mom when she gets a new boyfriend and is trying to introduce him to her kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And then in the preview, you see everyone go back to UA. Everyone's back in classes, but then you see Sleeping Bag Aizawa. He's carrying his sleeping bag, walking in. My favorite version of Aizawa. And then you see Aizawa and President Mike go talk to the portal guy, Kirajiri. There we go. And he says that they have some however you pronounce it, because I have no clue.
Yeah.
Kirigiri? Teriyaki?
Sichuan Mapo Tofu?
And then he reveals that there is some secret that needs to be revealed.
A dreadful secret.
A dreadful secret that needs to be revealed.
A tragic truth.
I'm excited!
That we all never thought of.
I think it's all what we already know.
I'm excited.
I think it's gonna go into Dobby.
Okay.
Kurogiri is definitely the old friend that President Mike mentioned before, right?
Has to be.
It has to be. I think I don't know if I brought that up on a podcast, but I know I've definitely talked to you about it before.
Yeah,
like,
it must not have happened here. I thought that's why I started talking about
Now,
it.
what you guys are talking about, what you're referring to, was whenever they were in the hallway.
They were in the hallway.
And he mentioned someone's name first, and it was definitely a woman's name. And that's whenever I said, oh, Aizawa must have had a
But then
love
he said,
interest.
or
and then,
is this about what happened to... Blah, blah, I don't remember the name, but... It's Kurogiri, dude.
I don't know if I mentioned it in a previous podcast, but I know I've talked to John about it before. I had this theory that, like, they knew, like, the three of them were, like, friends growing up, because we knew there was, like, one more friend in their friend group.
Sort of like
but we
the
never really knew
Severus
who
Snape
it was.
situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was something, like, they never really talked about. But, and I think that's kind of going to get confirmed, because Presentation Michael and Aizawa are the ones that go see him in prison. Sorry, I had to slide it in there.
Yeah.
what?
I had to do it once.
President Mike's real name.
Yeah, John sent me
Presentation Mike?
Yeah,
She say
Presentation Michael.
That's hysterical.
Presentation Michael.
John sent me a TikTok. If I find it, I'll send it in the group
TikTok.
chat.
I don't know who it was. But, yeah.
I don't know.
She calls him Presentation Michael.
Yeah.
I agree with it.
But I think next week's episode is going to be very crucial
So
to
fucking good.
the rest of this season. It just seems like lately, like every episode has just gotten like better and better and better and better.
Well, think of how much
Yeah.
stuff
I
they have.
wish these
that
ep-
we're
dude,
building up to.
I've felt that way since the beginning of season 4. Like,
Yeah.
I've liked this show the entire time that I've watched it.
At this
But
point, dude.
season 4 and now is just like, holy fuck, like all of it.
Mhm.
I love season 4. Like, I want to get one of my friends to watch the show, but she doesn't have a lot of time. So I was like, man, if I had to choose just like one season, I was like, watch season 4, please. Like, you know, and then go back and watch the other ones. Once
The
they're booked.
entire Eri arc, dude. The entire fucking
Honestly.
Eri arc.
I mean,
This is
like-
probably going to be called the Todoroki arc until the Todoroki
That's
family
true.
arc until the war starts or
Yeah.
whatever.
Mhm.
but
like-
Well, this is actually it's called in the manga. It's called the Endeavor's Agency arc.
Fair enough.
So, like, season 4 and this season both have a lot of stuff that they were building up to. Granted, the second half of season 4, like, it was mainly just the concert, but, like, that was still something that they were building towards. And now in this season, we know that there's a war coming. That
I
has already been
consider-
confirmed. We don't know when it's coming.
Personally, I consider the concert the end of the Eri arc.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we see her smile.
Mm-hmm.
Night Eyes in there too. That was like
Yeah. Oh,
so good.
Oh,
and,
the Night Eye stuff, yeah, dude.
yeah, I mean,
but, like,
and Amajiki. I mean, season 4.
But, like, with this season, we not only have the war that's coming up, but if all of us are correct in our, like, theories and stuff like that, we have the movie coming up.
Yay.
Like, we need to know how the movie is going to tie in, because we've already seen the face of the villain. It was in, like, one of the previews or something, or, like, one of the end credit scenes.
And
You've seen
end
the
credit
face of
2
the
weeks
villain.
ago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
At
like,
the end of the Froppy episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's in Europe. He's somewhere in
Mhm.
Europe, which is fucking
Yeah.
crazy to me.
So, like, we know this is coming up. So, all of these episodes right now are just building into it. And I think it's going to play, like, the next episode, I want to say, like you said, it's going to play, like, a crucial part in it.
Yeah, dude, I
Because
love
they're fun.
I
because,
love
like, they're-
how sorry.
Okay. No, go ahead.
You're the one that kept pausing.
Okay. Okay. Like Kayla said, I think this is going to play a crucial part
Yeah.
because they're finally back in class, so we get to see where all of the other students are at with, like, their training, their internships, and everything like that. So we know that they're going to be fully prepared for what's about to come. I really want to know Tokoyami.
Yeah, dude.
That
I
is
want to know
that
what
is the
happened with
person
him
I'm
and Hawks
concerned
this
about.
time, dude. I want to know.
But I don't know if he's. I know he's at. We know that he's at Hawks' agency.
Exactly.
But Hawks said
Tokoyami
that-
has to know how fucking weird Hawks is being.
Honestly.
No.
Hawks
isn't
isn't at
involved.
the agency. Hawks isn't involved.
Yeah.
Because right now
But
he's
why
going
wouldn't that
with.
trigger Tokoyami's... Because Tokoyami's a fucking genius.
Definitely.
I feel like Tokoyami's gonna know. And
Tokoyami's gonna come back and be like, "You guys were with Endeavor. Did anything weird happen? Because
Where the fuck is
I
Hawks?
went to Hawks' agency.
Yeah.
Hawks wasn't there."
Well,
And
coming
they're gonna
back.
be like, "Oh, well, we saw Hawks, and he gave us these fucking books." And
Tokoyami's like,
Tokoyami's gonna be like, "What the hell is this?" Read it in 5 seconds and be like, "All right, Ida, you take a shot at it."
Right?
You know what I mean? Like,
And speaking of Hawks, we're gonna take the
Don't give it
pen out of
to Kaminari.
Oh.
There's no point.
what is going to happen when Bakugo finds out what happened with Best Jeanist?
Exactly,
When we
dude.
find out what happened with Best
Bakugo's gonna see
Jeanist.
it.
what happened? We don't know.
I said
Exactly.
I said it before, and I will say it again, and I will stick by it until the end. I don't think Hawks hurt Best Jeanist. I don't think he killed him.
I don't think he killed him.
No, he just
I
drew
don't
his sword
think he
for no
killed him.
fucking reason.
Right?
No fucking
But at the same time, it's gonna play in somewhere because the Liberation told him to target someone. Like, they told him to, like, hurt a hero.
So target somebody
Just
who's
show the
already
hero.
So
injured.
maybe he assaulted him, got something of his to show them that, hey, I killed him, and then like
He was-
said to Genus, "Yo, I'm a fucking."
He was
idiot.
healing.
You
He
need
was
to
healing
chill
from
out."
broken. He was healing from broken ribs. There's nothing saying that Hawks didn't just knee him in the freaking chest again and break his ribs some more.
Oh,
But at the same time,
Yeah, but
we
then
also-
but
Fucking
what I'm
brutal.
saying is, all he'd have to do is take something of his.
and tell Janus to
and-
lay low.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But okay,
like do
so
you
it
want
would
proof that I did something here?
there'd be no verbal way that Hawks would have been able to tell Best Jeanist because, as we
Did
know,
he write it down?
he's being not only tracked, but he's being eavesdropped on. That's what I'm thinking. Like, he might have,
Did he
like,
write
given
it
him a
down,
book
though?
the same way he might have given Best Jeanist a book like the one he gave Endeavor with a note in it.
With like different shit highlighted or something.
Yeah.
Or
And
he
then, like-
didn't attack him at all, and since his wings are being
Geotracked?
surveyed.
Yeah.
He didn't use it as a weapon. He put it into Genus
Stabbing him?
or whatever. Yeah, but like now that is part of Genus, so they have surveillance on Genus.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just spitballing here. We really don't know what the fuck happened because we don't read the books. So.
But goddamn, am I excited to find out. And
Right?
Me too.
I'm ready for my Kirishima Tetsu content.
Yes.
And I'm a
All right. So
I also want to know what class Shinso is in. If I do not find out in this next episode, I'm going to scream.
That's gonna freak out, dude.
I honestly think that we have a little bit farther to go with Shinso before we find out. I think we honestly won't find out until probably the end of the season.
But, like,
all right.
we know he got into a hero course, which means he had to have done a work study with
Okay,
someone.
Sweetie, we're ready to wrap up. Stop talking.
So
That
next
time,
week,
the window this time.
We'll be back next week for episode 107, which is titled More of a Hero Than Anyone.
and with that, remain and
Always remember
go
to
beyond.
remember to stay good.
Go beyond. Plus.
What's
Ultra!
Ultra!